Welcome to the Breakthrough to Brilliance podcast, where we have inspiring and insightful conversations about breaking free from life's biggest challenges to find fulfillment and purpose. I am your host, Seema Giri, an international speaker, best-selling and award-winning author, book writing mentor, and publisher. I bring you real-life stories of healing and transformational journeys so that you know that you can create life on your own terms. Our heart centered guests are the everyday heroes that you find in your backyard, from mothers to sisters to friends to entrepreneurs and authors. Join us to hear their positive and powerful stories so you too can learn to live with purpose and joy. Welcome back to Breakthrough to Brilliance podcast. This is Seema Giri, your host, and I'm so happy to be here with you for another amazing episode. I am back from my travels. It's been so wonderful to be back, but it was also wonderful to be away. I went on a 10-day Mexican Riviera women's leadership retreat, and I have to tell you, it was amazing. We did not want to come back, but the most beautiful outcome is that all of us are staying in touch and have developed this amazing relationship. So on this retreat, what I realized was one of the reasons we connected really well was because we shared so many stories. We shared our business stories, our growth stories, our challenging stories, our personal stories, and stories of the heart. And for thousands of years, we have used storytelling as a form of sharing wisdom, conveying a message, and that is true in the business world as well. So today I want to share with you the 5 stories every entrepreneur needs to share. And you will share this in different forms throughout your business journey. Whether you're as a speaker or as a panelist or sharing with one-on-one or to investors or when you're pitching. So it's great to have them crafted beforehand and practice several times so it flows really naturally. You should have the expanded version and you should have a short snippet, sound bites. It's always good to talk in sound bites. Now, what is sound bites, Seema? You might be asking. Well, sound bites is where you have short sentences where it makes sense on its own. It's not very long, so if you cut it off anywhere, it the sentence makes sense and can be understood on its own. So if you look at newscasters or interviews on TV, they all talk in sound bites. So that's a great way to observe and practice. Okay, so let's get on to what the 5 types of stories are. So I'll share what the 5 types of stories are. So let's talk about what the 5 types of stories are, and then we'll dive deeper. So the first one is the origin story. The origin story is how you started the business, how you started your journey, what inspired you, and you'll share some challenges and things that you had overcome along the way. The second story is your turning point story. This also known as your life defining moments, where you had this great big challenge, could be tragedy, could be something major, and it could be something positive as well, and how that taught you an important lesson that made all the difference in your business journey and personal journey. These are typically combined together where it makes a huge difference in your life overall. The third is your customer success story. These are your client stories. They can be in form of testimonial where they share how they were stuck at this one place in the beginning before meeting you. And because of your system, your signature process, they were able to get the result that they have now, and now they're thriving. The fourth story is your innovation story. This is where you highlight how you stay ahead of the curve in the industry when new technologies and products come out, how you're making sure you're right there at the cutting edge, making sure that your clients are getting that benefit. And the fifth story is your giving back story, how you're making a positive impact in the world, either on a personal level or on the business level. And that's usually a combined story as well. Okay, let's dive deeper now. So the first story is the origin story. The origin story is, how did you get started? What inspired you to start your business? And typically, what were some of the challenges and struggles that you had overcome? So in my story, I'm going to share one for our project management business that my husband and I started back in 1999 after the birth of my first son. And we started this business in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. We started in the basement of our home, and it was just the two of us. He was working as a consultant at the client site, and I was developing the business. We were really great at what we did. We were great subject matter experts, but we had no idea how to run a business. I had the finance accounting background, and he had the engineering and project management background, and he was an extrovert, so he didn't have problem talking to anyone. Here I was, an introvert, did not know anything of sales, and I was the one doing the business development. So we really were going out of our comfort zone to do this business, but we had this vision. We had this vision of owning our own company, serving our clients, and creating several more jobs through that. And we took the business to a multi-million level business. We built our own small multi-million dollar empire, and I'm really grateful every day for the lessons that we learned during those years. And because of that experience, that we've been able to apply those lessons learned and turn things around faster in our second and third businesses. So the action step I would like you to take is to identify your origin story, write it out like you're saying it in a speech to your audience, highlight the key lessons that you learned along the way, and emphasize the struggles and challenges you faced and how you overcame them. Let's go to the second story, the turning point story, also known as your life defining moment. These are where early in your business you hit a major roadblock, right? You had perhaps invested a significant amount in a project and in a product, and that didn't work out. We've actually had this happen to us. So we had partnered up with Samsung in India, and we were to roll out a project where we would provide education to the rural areas through our content and their devices. And we put everything we had. We put our home on the line. We invested $1 million into this project because the rewards were so high. It would have outweighed everything that we had risked. But during that time, soon after the project started, there was a major policy change in India that really curtailed the way Samsung could do this business. And overnight, they decided to stop this project altogether. It was fine for them because they're a big corporation, but because we were a small corporation, a small company, we lost everything. Absolutely everything. And yes, we were totally devastated. And at the same time, I found out that my mom, who was living in the US, had lung cancer, and she was going down fairly quickly. And I just picked up the kids, packed our bags, and went straight to her to help take care of her. At that time, it felt like everything was crashing down on us, and how are we going to live? How are we going to carry on? I could not spend too much time really feeling sorry for myself or going really drowning into the sorrows of that, because I had to take care of my mom. And that was a blessing in disguise, because that gave me an opportunity to be fully present with her and fully present with the kids. I did not have to be in this dilemma of, should I leave the business? Should I leave the kids? Should I go take care of my mom? How am I going to manage all of this? So that was really unique experience, and I was able to learn how to really adapt quickly and be able to thrive. And I had dependents on me and how to take care of them as well. So I would like you to think of a turning point moment, a life defining moment in your life, and how that impacted your business, and what important lessons did you learn. Highlight how you were able to pivot and overcome those obstacles, and how that experience has influenced you and your approach to business. Okay, so the next one is the third one, the customer success story. This is where you identify one of your customers and what was the unique problem they had. Where were they stuck before they met you or when they met you? And what were they struggling with? What was the solution that you provided? Most probably is going to be your signature system that you have in your business. How, by working with them, implementing your processes, you were able to hold their hand, take them to the finish line to get them the results that you provide, and how, because of that, they are able to thrive right now. And you want to do a combination of in a form of testimonial where they are giving the testimony, preferably video, where they're sharing their struggles and they might be a little bit emotional. If they get emotional, that's really great because it means they're really speaking from the heart and you've made that huge impact on their life. And you can also present it in the form of case study where you're sharing where they were and then you share their video and then you add more depth to the conversation and show what the results are. So identify the customer of yours, create a case study highlighting your signature process, what issue they had and what the result they got and how they're thriving now. So a client story I can share with you is of a female entrepreneur who did not believe she had a story or that it was worth sharing. And after working with me through my coaching and through my book writing process, she claimed her story, owned it as her own, and proudly and confidently is sharing it with the world through her book, through her speeches, and she's impacting thousands of lives. And I can't tell you the profound joy that it has brought me in seeing her thrive. All right. So we're now at the fourth story, the innovation story. This is where you want to share how you are staying ahead of the curve in your industry. For example, now there's AI and that's impacting all industries. Although there were several other AI programs that were released a year or 2 years ago, a lot of people are noticing Chat GPT the most. So, for example, with Chat GPT, when it came out, I'm a really fast learner and I can figure most of the technology out on my own. So I looked at it, I studied it, I tried a few different things, and then I was able to give a quick mini training to my clients. So that showed them that I'm on top of my industry. I know what the cutting edge technologies are coming out. I'm a fast learner. I can figure it out and how to implement within our industry. So I showed them how they can reduce their time of creating marketing content through ChatGPT, and then how to add their own personal touch to it to make it their own. So you're not no longer struggling for days and months and weeks on creating a piece of content and then noticing that the time has gone by. I've had that issue so many times myself. Okay, so the fifth story is the giving back story. How are you, as your business is growing, how are you giving back to the community? It can be in small ways, it can be in big ways. So one of my favorite ways to give back is to work with organizations and charities that help empower women on helping them become independent emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, so they can be living their life on their own terms. That is so important. And also to provide education to children in rural areas. I've been a part of the board of directors So I've been doing this in several ways, as a combination of financial, of volunteering, of giving my time, of giving my expertise, whatever I can within my community. And some of the initiatives have been global. So I'd like you to identify, how is it that you're giving back to your community? How are you making those positive impact in the world using your business or your time or a combination of those things? Now, these are the 5 stories I have shared with you. Depending on what stage of business you're at, where you are, you may have all 5 or you may not have all 5. So it's not necessary to have all 5 at once, but whatever stories you do have, it's important to sit down and craft your story and make it as compelling as possible. This is one way we really connect with each other, and a way to showcase what you can do to your prospective clients, to the community, to the investors. You know, you're in the business because you want to make an impact in people's lives as well as yours. And stories are the best way to showcase that. I suggested you create an Excel sheet and write all your stories. Maybe have different tabs of having your origin story, your business story, your turning point story, or have it all in one and just write out all the stories that you can think of. I would do, when you're first doing this, I would do a complete brain dump. Don't think twice about it and start analyzing and evaluating. Just write out all your stories, and then you can go back and see what makes sense and which not, and then you can see, okay, how does this story convey the message or the growth in your business. Every few months, every 6 months, I would review them, update them, and make the changes, because as you grow in your business, the same stories, you'll be sharing them in a very different way. Today, the stories that I shared with you have been shared several times in several ways, and as I'm evolving, I'm telling them from a different perspective. The meaning is the same, we're doing the same thing, but it's from a different perspective. So I hope you found this episode to be really helpful in identifying your key stories that you need to share in your business. If you need help crafting your compelling stories of the 5 that we've talked about, I would love to support you in that. My contact information is in the show notes, as well as the details of what we discussed here, and you can reach me anytime. I hope you enjoyed our time together. I know I did. Through this transformational journey, I hope you could see yourself taking similar steps, breaking free to your brilliance, and creating the life that you desire.